So, today we are going to continue on talking about habits. And today we're talking about how to create the change you want. So, we'll actually take a few days to dive into a little bit of this, but today we're going to lay the foundation of creating that change. Okay. So, the process of building habits is the process of becoming you, or at least becoming the you that you want to be, creating the change in you that you desire. And that's what we're talking about today. So, let me explain this. Every belief that we have about ourselves has been through a learned experience. Most of that is subconscious. Okay. So you will see a lot today that we'll be paralleling mindset and habits because they kind of go hand in hand. Because a lot of our habits are involuntary. We don't realize that we're doing things. I remember this is the weirdest thing, but I was in Myrtle Beach with my sister, and we were driving to go see like the wild tigers or something. I don't remember where we're going. And she started laughing. And I'm like, what are you laughing at? And she said, every single time that I brake on the highway, now mind you, this is a highway that I've never been on before, I would rub my leg. And I was like, what are you talking about? No, I don't. She's like, yes, you do. So we're driving and I brake again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. So it was a habit. And I think it was a response to just the atmosphere and being like someplace I hadn't been before. And it's not something I do every day, but it was response to my environment, right? So my point in this is that I wasn't consciously saying, okay, like it wasn't a conscious decision for me to rub or pat my leg. That was totally weird. But just to think that through the experiences that we have affect who we are at our core. It affects our mindset that we've talked about before, but it also affects our habits. And so, how do you know something is a habit? So let's look at that for a second. When you get up in the morning, a lot of people, without thinking about it, they go get their cup of coffee. Without thinking about it, they go brush their teeth or they jump in the shower. You know something is a habit when you do not have a dialogue, an internal dialogue in your head of, oh, what should I do now? Or what do I want to drink this morning? I have a dialogue every morning about what my first beverage is going to be because I know it should be water, and sometimes that runs out. Sometimes my hot chocolate runs out now or wins out. I did actually have water this morning before my hot chocolate. And then oftentimes I drink, a red drink. So I have this internal dialogue of what do I want to drink? And that's a silly example, but it is an example that my morning beverage is not habit. Where some people would say they get up and they drink a glass of water from the bathroom sink right away. I would love to say that was me. It's not. Or people get up and the first thing they do is head straight for the kitchen because they need their cup of coffee. All right. So that's when you know it's a habit, when you're not actually thinking about what I want to do. You're not trying to make that decision. Okay. And we'll dive more into that either later today or tomorrow, depending how far we get when it comes to what's going on inside your brain and what habits actually do for us mentally. All right. So, as I said, every belief you have has been learned through experience, or it's been something that has been spoken to you, or an experience you've had that you have identified with. And again, this is for good habits and bad habits, and it's not always a conscious thing. So you can say, "No, I have this bad habit, and I would not choose it." You may not consciously choose it, but maybe subconsciously you have. Um, when we look at behaviors that we do automatically, because that's what habits are, they're automatic behaviors. Um, and some good examples would be you get up each morning and you make your bed right away. You identify as an organized person. So maybe one of two things happened. Maybe somewhere in your past, maybe as a child, you made your bed in the morning and you got praised for it, or you overheard someone saying, oh, she's so good. She makes her bed every morning. She keeps her room clean or whatever. So you identified as that clean, organized person. Or maybe you made your bed because you liked the feeling it gave you. You liked looking around your room and seeing it looked better. I remember I had an aunt one time who told me that it doesn't matter how messy your bedroom is, if you just make your bed, your room looks 40% better. Whether that's exactly scientifically proven or not, I don't know. But it's just that reinforcement of a behavior that gave you a feeling of who you wanted to be. Is the type of person I want to be, the type of person who makes their bed every morning. And this can be used for any kind of habit or any kind of behavior. I just use that because I recently made my bed. All right. So your identity emerges from your habits. So you identify when we choose and we want to create change in our life, we have to identify who it is we want to be. And we choose habits and we choose behaviors that identify with who we want to be. So you've heard me say that when it comes to mindset, you either choose your mindset or it's chosen for you, because you either consciously make a choice of how you're going to think and how you're going to react. And you can go back in my library videos. You want to know more specifically on mindset. Um, or if you don't consciously choose it, it's being chosen for you. It's the subconscious choices. It's the effect of environment, the effect of people have on you, the voices that you hear, not the voices that you hear. Yeah. So, but it's that internal dialogue again. And a lot of times it's not always the best when we put that unless we've trained our mindset. A lot of times that default mindset is not always going to be 100% the best, because there's always those little drips in from the past experiences or past words that someone has spoken over us. Even things people have said in good intentions can harm, what was meant for good back then can actually harm us today if we're still playing that same tape, that same loop. We talk about loops of mindset. Identity, habits are the same way. So mindset is like mental loops, habits are behavior loops. Okay. So so we can choose to change it. I love this quote, that James Clear says in his book Atomic Habits. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. So if we need to back it up and be like, okay, what choice am I going to make today? It was my first beverage of the day going to be a glass of water? Or is it going to be a cup of coffee? You back it up and you actually consciously step out of your patterns and say, okay, which choice am I going to make today? Which type of person am I going to be today? What type of person do I want to become? All right. And there are some hacks in this area, that it seems kind of silly, but and we'll get into more about breaking habits, I think, this week. If not, we're definitely tackling that in 90-day reset. Oh, so before I get off, 90-day resets launches Monday, and it's all about health and habits. Habits is a big thing. That's why I'm kind of doing a little bit of habits this week, but we were diving deep into what's going on inside our brain, what habits do for us, as well as breaking bad habits, creating good ones. We'll be diving way, way deep, all of that in a 90-day reset. If you want to learn more about that, just pop in my group, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, a faith-based journey to do more and give more and serve more. All right. So I love this quote. It says, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become, because we need to sit back and consciously think through these things. And so the hacks that I mentioned are, and again, this makes me feel silly. And I've done this in the past, and it hands down does work. At least it brings awareness. And that's when you're going to do something. Say you're going to grab that first cup of coffee in the morning, and you say out loud, I'm getting a cup of coffee, but I should be drinking water first. When you put it out there, you may have already thought it, it may have run through your brain, but when it's silent in your head, it's easy to push it aside and still grab that cup of coffee. Like, oh, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's kind of what goes in on your head, right? But when you say it out loud, your brain goes, "Er," all right? So that it kind of interrupts the automatic pattern of that habit. And you may still go for it, but the awareness is that first step. So you may have to have that awareness a little while before you mentally say, okay, this is the type of person I'm going to make those changes. But that awareness is the first step. So that's one little hack, is that when you know you have a habit that you want to break or a habit that you want to start, say it out loud. Because the more senses that are involved in it, the more your brain wakes up and hears it, to get out of those current patterns. So, um, so each choice we're making is progress or strengthen in a right choice, hopefully. So if we're making these choices, so how today, back to the topic today, how to create the change you want. This is, if you followed me, if you watch my mindset stuff, this is not a whole lot different than that. Step one in how to create the change you want in you is to decide what you want. So decide the type of person you want to be. Do you want to identify as an organized person, a healthy person, a financially sound person? All three things we talk about in my Facebook group, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. So that's my default. But say you want to be a healthy person. You decide today, I want to be a healthy person. So then you start believing that I can be a healthy person. You decide it. You tell yourself, I choose to be a healthy person. If you're into affirmations, this is your affirmation. I choose to be a healthy person. And I like to, whenever I do any type of work that includes affirmations, which I have an amazing coach that's coming in on the 90-day reset to kind of pour into us when it comes to mindset. And we will be using verbiage like affirmations, but I choose to be a healthy person. And then you attach a scripture to it, because there's power in his words, not just our words. Our words do have power. Our words are energy. We are made in his image. So therefore we are creators, but his words are more powerful. So we attach our words to his words, and that is a force to be reckoned with. All right. So first we decide, then we choose. We choose to do it, and we create a saying for ourselves, a belief for ourselves. Right. I choose to be a healthy person because I know God has plans for me. Right. He has plans to um, prosper me, not to harm me, to give me hope in a future. Right. How much more hope in a future are you going to get than with a healthy lifestyle? Okay. All right. So we've decided, we've chosen it, we've chosen to believe that. And then step three is to go through your day making choices, answering the question of, what would a healthy person do? Would a healthy person grab that donut or grab a juice? Would a healthy person um, drink that water first or drink that coffee first? Would a healthy person remember to take their supplements in the morning? Right? What would I'm choosing to be a healthy person. What choices would a healthy person make? So I hope that makes sense. Um, so you're going to decide, we're going to believe, and then we'll make the choices. And that is the 1, 2, 3 punch on how to create the change you want. So remember, habits are behaviors that are repeated enough times to become automatic. So we need to make those choices daily, right? Um, and we are all human. So we know when we set out to affect change in our lives, we have setbacks. We have good runs. You'd be going great for like 5 days, and then you have a setback. Don't allow that setback to keep you from getting up and moving forward. It's not a failure. We talk about this when we talk about growth mindset. When you hit a speed bump in any journey, any goal, any plan that you have, and you get knocked off kilter, you're like, man, I failed that. I tap out. I'm done. No, a growth mindset says, oh crap, I made a mistake. Let's see why I made that mistake. You know, so maybe it was a trigger. Maybe there was an emotional trigger. Maybe there was a physical trigger. Maybe there was a situation that you put yourself in. Maybe there was something that was brought home or gifted to you that gave you temptation, whatever your choices are. So when that happens, sit back and be like, okay, evaluate the situation. Do not beat yourself up. You have to learn from your failures. That's the only, because if you don't learn from your failures, then they become actual failures, right? As long as we're learning from our failures, they're not failures, right? It's a learning experience. And that's the only way to grow in life, is to have learning experiences, which unfortunately means that we're going to fail sometimes. So as you start making these choices, there's going to be a time that you make a choice that's not the choice that you feel like you should have made. And then you're going to yourself up for it. You don't. You sit back and analyze, okay, why did I do that? What happened? Was it a bad day at work that caused me to, eat a donut or eat 5 donuts? I don't know. So you just want to identify what happened to make you choose a thing that you didn't want to choose. And then you try to remove that. There is a science behind this, and you'll be diving that more tomorrow on the steps to create and I don't know if tomorrow we'll be hitting sorry. I don't know if tomorrow we're going to be hitting breaking bad habits or not. I just don't know if we're going to get to it. Try to pack a lot in this week. But definitely 90-day reset. We'll be diving more into habits and mindset, as well as creating a healthy, attainable lifestyle. So hopefully I see you in my group. If you have questions, let me know. And I will see you guys tomorrow.